Have you ever disagreed about something with somebody you love in front of a lot of people where it would be super easy to probably sort that out if there weren't a lot of other people around, but because there are, you're just kind of doing the thing where you're like, but wouldn't it be better if we did it this way? Oh, true. But can't we agree that it should be like this? Wink, wink. Because you just can't say the stuff that you're going to say. And I think that's far better than the alternative, just to have your little signals and stuff that you give back and forth with a friend, a family member, a spouse, when you disagree in a situation where you really can't flesh out the reasons for your disagreement. I suppose that's going to come into play as a pun later on. I'm just going to live with that one. But every now and then, I'm guessing that you have been party to something where socially it's not a great environment to strongly disagree, but maybe you disagree with something so much that you're like, I don't care if it makes it awkward. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think we should do that. I don't want to do that. And you like break the social tone of the moment, and everybody feels really, really weird. Or maybe somebody's disagreed with you like that in front of people. And oh, what an uncomfortable thing that is. Well, we get one of those kind of events right here in Esther chapter 1, because King Xerxes, at the end of a giant half-a-year-long drunken public party, has thrown an even drunkener public party for another 7 days to just cap the whole thing off. And there's a corresponding women's drunken party going on that I'm sure was not quite as drunken. And King Xerxes decides that the fireworks show to end the ballerest parties of all the parties that have ever been thrown by any Achaemenid emperor, better than Darius, better than that clown shapeshifter Bardia, better than Cambyses II, better than Cyrus II. The thing that's going to cap off the best party in the history of Persia is the queen herself doing a sexy dance for all these drunk dudes while they stand around and watch it and gawk at it. Yep, that's Xerxes' plan for how to really nail this thing and cap it off the right way, in a way where everybody will be like, that was great. You are the most socially mature. We should definitely follow you into battle and risk the future of our empire based on that exemplary decision-making that you have just put forward here. So it says, Queen Vashti also gave a banquet for the women in the royal palace of King Xerxes. This is Esther 1, starting in verse 9. But on the seventh day, when King Xerxes was in high spirits from wine, he commanded the 7 eunuchs who served him, I read you all their names yesterday, to bring before him Queen Vashti wearing her royal crown. The text doesn't say she'd be wearing anything else, in order to display her beauty to the people and nobles, for she was lovely to look at. Well, I'm sure she was. I mean, she's the queen of everything. But now here's what happened. When the attendants delivered the king's command, Queen Vashti refused to come. Then the king became furious and burned with anger. Coming into the presence of the king when he says to do so is a real big deal to Xerxes, and it's a real big deal in the royal court of Persia. Not coming into the presence of the king when he has not summoned you is also a very big deal. Now look, cheating ahead a little bit here, Esther, who's going to be queen to Xerxes, she's going to take a great risk by going into Xerxes' presence when not invited. Here, Vashti is taking a great risk by not going into Xerxes' presence when invited. And how Xerxes responds to that is entirely predictable, in part because of what we looked at from Herodotus' histories the other day. Remember? Somebody just spoke up and was like, wow, those are great opinions about war, King. Excellent. Excellent job. And your buddy there, Mardonius, those were also wonderful opinions about war. I would like to weigh in as your uncle, the brother of your father, with an opposing opinion, not even so much to disagree with you, as just for the purpose of really going through the whole exercise so that you can see multiple options and feel great about the choice that you are going to make, oh great king. And Xerxes is like, yeah, you don't get to go to war anymore, you idiot jerk. How dare you? No, you will stay back here with the women and dishonor on your family for generations to come. Whoa! We know this guy's got a temper. He will go nuclear over very small things. And apparently, he really doesn't like to be questioned or argued with in public. He didn't like it when it happened politely, according to Herodotus, at this same party. He's surely not going to like it when it appears to be not polite, as is what we're experiencing here. But let's think about this thing from Vashti's perspective for a second. Step back from everything about now and the good and weird cultural norms that we have now. Everything's a mixed bag. It's always a mixed bag. With anything good that happens culturally, there's usually going to be something quirky that goes with it. We're not talking about that. We're not thinking about any of that stuff at all. Forget modern sensibilities. Imagine what it was like for this woman to be living in Persia, to be living in the lap of luxury, and on the last day of her husband's elaborate party, she gets this request. What should she have done? Do you just go with self-preservation at this point and be like, everybody's drunk, hopefully they'll forget, let's just get this thing over with? I mean, that'd be pretty gross, and it'd be pretty easy to judge somebody for making that choice. But also, I think I'd understand, because you don't just get deposed as a queen. Your fate is going to be pretty bad if you don't go along with what your drunk husband is saying needs to happen right here. My point is, I don't think we could have judged her for playing this thing differently, but I think we all admire her for just refusing it. No, I'm not doing that. That isn't the role of the queen. I'm not someone you can just buy and sell and trot out for that kind of entertainment, that kind of activity with all your slobbering, drunk, idiot friends. No, I won't do it. And I don't know what kind of language she used to reject him. Maybe she was very meek and used the same kind of qualified, careful, oh, great king kind of language that Artabanos did in that excerpt from Herodotus that we read the other day. Maybe she just told him to stuff it. No, you're out of your mind. You're drunk. You've lost it. I won't do that. Sometimes queens had that kind of relationship with their king, and they could do it. Who knows what tone she took, but in this case, I think it was the act of publicly refuting the order of the king that did her in. If this guy's holding himself out as the king of kings, the king of lands, the king of everything, including earth and water, the creation bends the knee to Xerxes. And then he just says flippantly off the cuff, hey, wife, do a sexy dance for us. And she's like, no. Well, that kind of undermines the whole mystique of king of earth and water and lands and sky and the anointed one of Ahura Mazda. And on a lot of levels, I think that's a good thing, because it was just a mystique. Obviously, all of that stuff is just paperwork. It's just propaganda. I mean, the right guy killed the right guy at the right time in the right battle, and then his dad killed the right guy at the right time, and then Xerxes' mom was ferocious in just the right ways to make all of this stuff go, at least from a human perspective. That's how it all came together. So it is a ridiculous, preposterous pretense to hold out all the litany of titles and styles that he had attached to his name, but also in Vashti's refusal to bend the knee to the perverse will of her husband, the king. It demonstrates how fragile all of this is. And my friends, that is a motif that runs through the entire Bible. The idea of the clown king and the clown kingdom, the world system that we contrasted when you and I worked through the book of Matthew so much with the kingdom. The world kingdom is frail. It looks so tough, propped up by swords and guns and government and paperwork and fancy outfits and lots of words and fear of reprisal. But it's fragile. And it's passing and it's fleeting, and everybody thinks that these things will never go away until the day they fall and the day they do. And then everybody's like, oh, shrug. Well, I guess we're done with that now. Okay, what happens next? And then the next thing emerges and everybody falls for it again. And that's just how we do things. And maybe to some extent, that's how we have to do things. Maybe that's the best we can get it on this side of eternity. But the kingdom, the one that has the values that Jesus articulates in the Sermon on the Mount and the ones that he lives out, that is other from the world kingdom. It is greater than the world kingdom. It is a truer, greater reality that doesn't fade, doesn't go away, and is preserved and governed and overseen and held firmly in its place by the one true great king. The contrast between the flailing impotence of the human great kings of the human great kingdoms of the Bible and the true kingdom and the true king behind it, who is God, is robust, and it's everywhere. And here, the whole house of cards comes crumbling down. Think about it. Your mystique cannot withstand you saying, hey, wife, do something perverted and horrible that debases yourself in front of everybody right now. And her saying, no, I'm not going to do that. That makes the house of cards crumble? Phew, a house of cards it is indeed. We've got to take some more time in the coming days to unpack the fallout from this thing. But on the way out the door here, hey, across the ages, across the centuries and the generations, Queen Vashti, wherever you are out there, props to you, sister. Way to have some standards, way to have some dignity, way to value yourself properly. Much respect for sticking to your guns when it cost you a lot. And to Xerxes, if we do ever get together for a meal at Chili's, dude, we got to talk about that. You should not have done that, man. It's not cool. That's not the way to treat your wife. I think you were being a jerk. It's just my opinion. All right, that's plenty for today. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour Podcast. Let's do this again soon.